All right, so we are recording. We're live now. Welcome back to the second installment, the second episode of the MoneyMaker, the reseller webinar. We had great feedback last time. Really appreciate everybody joining us for the first episode. As we work out these kinks and bugs throughout, we will get more refined and better throughout this. Again, if you want to ask any questions throughout, please use the Q&A. We will be addressing those and then following up with that. So let's get started. If you want to move forward a little bit. All right. Coming soon. All right. So the agenda today, we're going to introduce our guest panelists that are going to be joining. We're going to do a privacy policy update. We have the new business hosting. We have our product people here online, and we have the SEV team here as well. And we're going to go over some coming soon and some of the Q&A. As a reminder, Chelsea and I are hosting this. We'll also have Christina. We'll introduce you guys to her next installment, next episode in June. She has also joined our team. Again, I'm Shannon Hampshire. I'm the product marketing manager. We have Chelsea on as well. We're having a little bit of difficulty with Chelsea adding as a panelist. So Chelsea, I am having some issues with that. Let me see if I can. Oops. Let me see if I can get you moved up there. So, all right. Again, Chelsea and I are the hosts of this. We want to introduce our guests. This time we have really lucky to have two of our product team members here. We have Nisam from the SEV team, and then we have Chris here from the hosting team. We will be going over those, introducing them, and when we get to their segments, I'll let them introduce themselves a little bit further. So thanks so much for joining. All right, so one of the things I wanted to cover before we jump into the great product stuff is the updated privacy policy. This email was sent out to you guys on April 20th, and to let you know that we will be changing our privacy policy, and that we'll be notifying customers about that. Also, to keep an eye out for follow-up emails that you will be receiving from us to learn more about our updated reseller terms of service. So again, the notification was sent out to you on April 20th to let you know that we're going to be updating our privacy policy. It was sent to customers on April 25th. The privacy policy update will take place on May 25th. And then after that, as a follow-up, as we notified and indicated in the email, is that we'll be sending more information about the reseller terms and service. If you have any questions about the privacy policy, we did include a link where you could review more of it. And we really wanted to be transparent about what we're going to be updating, what we're going to be saying, and what we're going to be communicating to your customers as well. So let us know if you have any questions about the email. Again, there are some great online references to it. As you notice within the email of the rundown of what we're doing, there's a mention of the GDPR in there, which is really relevant. And as you'll see at the end of this, that's actually a topic that we're going to be going over in the month of June. So we have our great privacy team coming to help us understand the changes and the regulations and the compliance that comes with that. So just wanted to notify you guys about this privacy policy update. You will be getting tons from all sorts of organizations, but pertinent to our business. These are the timelines and the dates and the messaging that has went out. So we are going to move into the business hosting. Really great. We launched this last week. Very excited. Lucky to have our Chris here from the business hosting team. He's going to go over kind of a high-level product overview of this, talk about the plan, talk about what's available, and then he's going to do a short demo. So, Chris, if you're ready, I think we can hand over the controls to you if you want to take the controls.
Sure, sounds good.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, let me share out my screen here. So our product lead and our marketing lead are both traveling on opposite sides of the globe this week, so you're stuck with the engineer giving a product demo. But hey, we'll all muddle along.
I think, it will be interesting. We're excited to have you. So.
All right. So just to level set on what business hosting is and why we created it, I want to take a couple minutes and walk through just what we see on the GoDaddy front of site page here. Now, one thing we've recognized with our customers historically, and I'm sure a lot of you have probably noticed with your own customers as well, is the shared hosting customer and the VPS customer tend to be very different types of people. VPS is a much more technical platform, and shared, the feature set's a little bit more limited, but it's a lot easier for customers to manage, and a lot of our customers want to spend a lot more time developing their own business and not necessarily managing a server. So what we noticed was that when customers would either outgrow a shared hosting plan, or there are many reasons why they might want to graduate from a shared hosting plan. Some, they might just need more resources. Others, they might say, hey, you know what, my business has reached a point where I can't, I need more control over my site, and I don't want to take the risk that other people on a shared server might negatively impact the performance of my site, but they don't really want to manage a server. So what happened in the past is they might go buy a VPS or a dedicated server and really not have the skill set to manage that properly. So we kind of identified a bit of a gap in our product line. So, if somebody's on one of these shared hosting plans, what we did is introduce this concept of business hosting. And all business hosting is fundamentally is we took our shared hosting experience, but put that experience, backed it by a VPS on our newer VPS platform. So this is kind of the base plan here. So you can kind of see we now offer this in line with our shared hosting plans, and also we'll just walk through the front site page here. There's some more information on here too about what business hosting is. And if we just skip down to the plans at the bottom, we'll see. So we offer 4 plans on the front of site. There's actually 6 plans. We offer some really big ones too. So if a customer just needs a lot more resources and power, we have an offering for them to get that. So so with business hosting here, what you see is, we try to communicate the feature set, what's different from shared hosting. On shared, we historically, we hate to use the term unlimited. That's kind of a marketing term, because of course we all know that, at the end of the day, there's always like a physical limit on a box, but we don't meter the usage for a lot of resources. But of course, on a VPS, you have dedicated resources to you. So the storage is not oversubscribed. That's your storage. You can use it however you like. The RAM is not oversubscribed. So you have, 2, 4, 6, 8 gigabytes of RAM that's allocated just for your.
Oh, did we lose sound? Oh, are we back? I think we had some sound issues. Oh, Chris? Oh no. Chris, I think we had some sound issues. Yep, Chris, you're gonna have to reconnect your headset. I'm gonna turn this to you real quick. All right, sorry about that. I know your ears. I'm sorry about that. Sometimes our sound gets messed up. Why don't we, Chris, when you get a sound reconnected, let us know. We'll come back to the business hosting. I'm going to take the screen share and move. Again, if you want to ask questions during the demos, we're right in the middle of business hosting. We'll come back to that when Chris can get his sound updated. If you have questions about the product, please put them in the Q&A. We'll have them answer live during it. Again, that was the business hosting. Chris, thank you so much. When your sound's reconnected, we'll come back to you. Let's move on to the search, the SEV that was launched. We have Nisam here from the product team. I'm going to let you take over that for now, and then we'll circle back again to Chris. If you have questions, I'll help you get them from the Q&A, Nisam, and then we can answer them live as well. So why don't we have you take over and let's go over the SEV part right now.
Sure. Thanks, Shannon. Hi. So I'm Nissim from the SCV team, and I'm very happy to be here with you. Thank you for taking the time to look at our new launch here. So I would say, generally as a context, we all know that SEO is not the easiest task, especially not for small medium businesses. They understand the importance for that, but they can be confused by the abundance of the advice available online. Sometimes these advice are even conflicting, and even at the moment they choose to follow one advice or one best practice, then implementing that is not the most trivial thing for them. It varies from one website to another, and sometimes even code needs to be edited. So these are all the reasons why at GoDaddy we believe there's a better way, and we built our SEO product, and we built that with three key principles in mind. First, it has to be simple. The second, it has to be based on proven practices. And third, and most importantly, it has to deliver results. So by simplicity, we understand that the audience is not technical, which is why we design and optimize the product for a novice user with a relatively simple website. So that's the use case we are serving. And we're very happy that you now have the ability to offer this solution to your customers. And really, we do the heavy lifting for the customer. We can talk later on in the demo about the unique technology that we are using in order to make the life of our customer easier. We do that based on proven practices. So the product is, think of that cousin that is an expert on SEO, and he sits with you for a few hours and he has all the best practices in mind and tell you, you should do this and you should do that. That's basically the journey that we are simulating. But we do that in a self-served way, in a way that customers can use that by themselves. And we help them choose the right keywords, incorporate them in the website content, edit the Google results snippet, and more. But he delivers also results. So we have now enough data to be super confident about that. And we know that within a period of 6 months, the folks that use our SEO product will increase their traffic from Google by 2x. So that is very important for us, and it's another proof point that the product is delivering the promise. So without further ado, I will move to the demo. So once SEO, search engine visibility, is available, then I can just start, doing the SEO optimization wizard. So click on Start, and here I have a list of my GoDaddy domains. But I can easily add another domain. It works with every single website out there. So that's important to remember. In this case, I'm going to choose my domain. Then what we do, we ask a bit about the customer. So in this case, I'm going to optimize this website. So it's a bakery website. It is based in Menlo Park. And so I have built my website, and now I want to attract more traffic. So what you're going to see is that we're going to take that one step at a time. It is not the shortest flow, but by breaking that down to small steps, then it is helping a lot the customer to easily understand the question, answer them, and move to the next one. We see also a very high completion of that flow in our metrics. So I'm going to provide more information. I'm Menlo Patisserie, that's the name of my business, and it is based in Menlo Park, so this is the area of where my customers are. And the next step is really, it's a very important one. So that's where we transition our customers from thinking about naming the product in the way the business owner thinks about them to having them understand how the customers are looking for them. So as we're going to see, in this case, I'm going to say I'm a bakery and I sell croissant. That's my flagship product. And what we're going to do here is going to Google and ask, okay, how people are looking for bakery and croissant and what they are looking for when they type the search queries online. And in this case, we're going to provide recommendations so you can choose the one you want. So in this case, there's bakery in Menlo Park, croissant in Menlo Park, but also I sell baguette and brioche. But here I can actually see that sandwich is way more popular in the search queries than these two other products. And because I sell sandwich and I want to attract more customers, then in this case I'm going to select sandwich. Again, that's entirely up to the customer that uses the product. Cool. So now I did that, and then again we take them one step at a time and we ask them, okay, what best describes this page? So in this case, I'm going to go with bakery in Menlo Park. That's the best way to describe this homepage. And now we're going to provide them a way to change the title of their Google results. So look at the simplicity here. There's no, everybody that is a bit technical in HTML will understand that there are modifications of HTML tags as we do that, but we really keep that away from the customer and we make that super simple for them. So in this case, they basically edit their Google search result snippet. So I'm going to go with this one. I think it has the best keywords for me. And next step, we're going to help them literally edit that Google search result and make sure that they incorporate the keywords that they have previously selected. So I'm going to say here, welcome to your bakery in Menlo Park, and we let them know that they should incorporate that. And if I somehow miss that, we still remind them this. Okay, so and we're going to move to another part of the website, which is the headline. So these famous H tags, and we're going to again ask them to incorporate the keywords that they need to optimize for in that headline. So we recognize that automatically, and we're going to say, welcome to Menlo Patisserie, your local bakery in Menlo Park. And as you see, the content is changing, right? So you see that if I edit that, that changes the content. We're going to do that again, and we can do that with more piece of content that we find on the website. In this case, that's going to be some blog post that can be there, or any other content on that page, and we can do the same thing again, which is incorporating the keywords. And in this case, I'm going to say sunny days guarantee, I'll pass you full of guests, and I'm going to here incorporate in our bakery in Menlo Park and our delicious pastry. I'm going to keep croissant and sandwich. So I incorporated these two keywords. So now we have basically all the changes ready for review, and we can see that the keywords were incorporated in several parts of that single page. So that's the headline, the page description, the title, and even the content of the website.
We had a quick question for you. Does this work for WordPress sites?
Yes, it works for WordPress websites. And by the way, it's a great timing to answer that question. So for the moment, once we compile all these changes, and we have basically two ways to apply them. One is to provide a list of changes that need to be applied, and that's what all the tools of SEO out there are doing. At the end of the day, the process ends with these are the changes that you need to apply on the website. But we want to go one step further, and we can publish them for the customer. And if the domain is hosted in GoDaddy, then we have the ability to actually publish these changes without requiring customer to modify anything. In case of WordPress, the more WordPress savvy user might want to implement their changes directly on the website and not have our technology provide the new edited content. But that's really up to them. And in the future, we'll have an even better integration with WordPress. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I think that's great.
So we're gonna we're gonna now publish the changes, and if I go to my website and I refresh, I can see that the content has changed. Right? You remember we added the bakery in Menlo Park, and then if I go to let's see. Yeah, and here I can see also the new keywords that were added. And that way we help basically the customers to add content to their website in the right way, because we let them understand how customers are looking for their products, and not necessarily the way the business owner thinks about them, because we know actually how they are typing that on Google. And again, let me remind you that among the audience that activates this product, we see an increase of 2x in the sessions coming from Google within 6 months. Another data point that you might be interesting is that it takes a while for Google to catch these changes. That's not I mean, that's something that applies to everybody working in SEO. I don't think that's something new, but we have seen an average of 40 to 60 days as that period where we start seeing actually the uplift in the traffic. So be aware of that. There's not really much we can do about that, but the good news is that after these 60 days, the traffic starts increasing in a nice way. Yeah, so that's our demo of SEO, and I'm happy to take any question in the chat if you have some.
Great. And I think one of the feedbacks that we got from one of the participants is that it'd be really great to see this in the reseller ecosystem, which I think that's kind of what we were striving to produce in this. So we just kind of wanted to show you the overview of the product, bringing in the GoDaddy product expert. What we'll do is we'll add on kind of a short demo in the reseller view, because that's really the pertinent part for us. So we just kind of wanted to give you a high-level product overview of what it looked like, and then we'll also include what it looks like in the reseller ecosystem. So if you have any questions specifically for SEV, do put them into the Q&A, and then we can address them there. I think we're going to move back to business hosting now. We'll have Chris kind of take that over again now that we got his sound fixed. I apologize for that, Chris.
Well, I hope we got it fixed. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, it sounds great. So let's continue. Again, you're showing the GoDaddy side. Is that correct on your demo for now?
I do have a little bit. Well, some of the reseller pieces we're still enabling, and I do have a reseller account to show. But there's some differences in some of those. I'll get to that in just a minute.
Okay. Yep, that sounds great. Okay, let's circle back again. We're circling back to the hosting part, the business hosting part with Chris again.
All right. I apologize for technology, but hey, we'll try to walk through this again. So what I was trying to show where we dropped off was just the amount of resources that you have and why we built this the business hosting product, and it's been pretty successful. I think a lot of our customers, I think the hypothesis that we had going in was, that our customers aren't as technical or technically savvy enough to manage a server, and I think that's kind of proven accurate in some of the sales numbers that we've seen from business hosting so far. But let's I want to jump into one of these. I think it's this account. Yeah, so this one here is currently, so again, this is a GoDaddy account. I'll jump to a reseller one in a minute. But there are a couple things that have come together here. In addition to the new product offering itself, we also have the new UI experience, which is going to make it significantly easier to unify the GoDaddy versus reseller features, because we used to have to do a lot of things that were custom. You can imagine from a developer standpoint, there was a lot of if reseller, if not reseller kind of code that was very difficult to maintain. And now the ability to expose these features should be a lot easier. So this is a shared hosting account. And what we kind of see here is we have an upgrade page, and this is about to be enabled for resellers. Has to make a whole bunch of e-commerce lookups, so it's slow to generate. But this, we do some validation on here as well. Oh, don't tell me to do this again. Since this is my test account, sometimes I need to go do some manual updates to enable the upgrade, because by default, our e-commerce system limits what internal employees can upgrade to. But let's pretend, since I don't want to walk through the e-com cart process right now. So it will say, this is the account that you're on right now, and generally these upgrade buttons are enabled. And it'll just try to explain, hey, this is what business hosting is for. Business hosting has dedicated resources. If you're a site that needs a lot of bandwidth, or your performance is impacted by others, and you don't want to take that risk for your business, this might be a plan that you want to investigate. So you can just, from this page, you can generally just click the upgrade, and it'll go straight through to the business hosting. It'll just take it's a seamless upgrade. Well, when I say seamless, I mean it's all handled by our code, but of course you still need to physically transfer the content. So depending on how large the site is, it could still have an outage while you're doing that transfer and that migration, because you're migrating from a shared host to the VM.
Hey, Chris, I had a question. Somebody asked, is business hosting the same as VPS?
It is. In the back end technology is the same, and what you're going to see with our VPS4 programs, they even use the exact same names for their plans. The primary difference is in the experience. In a VPS, you're greeted with a root login and a WHM screen if you're on like cPanel. So if in business hosting, we preserve the shared hosting experience where the customer doesn't have admin rights to the server, and they just have their cPanel account instead of having all the WHM access that they would have to manage. So the trade-off there is, clearly with root access you can do more on a server, but if a user doesn't want to manage a server or isn't technically savvy enough to do that effectively, or can't or doesn't want to pay somebody to manage the server for them, business hosting is really there to just be an easier way to get those resources without having to do all the server management work. So that's the primary difference, is the experience. Let me jump back here.
That's great. Thank you.
And what you'll see on this was one that I already upgraded. So this is already on a business hosting plan. You can see it has the yay, and my ecom isn't messed up on this account. So you can see if I wanted to, I could just simply go through this screen and upgrade directly from to the bigger account if I needed to. So this one here is one of Chelsea's reseller accounts that we're borrowing, and we have. So if you're familiar with the account manager, with the My Account application, some of these plans are already technically available. So if somebody wanted to upgrade and try one out, you can go in and grab one of these plans from the launch plan's our smallest one. There are a couple things that we're still working out to make sure that this is a clean experience, but if you log into your current plan, you will already see these through the My or the My Account application. So you can upgrade through there, but the part on the My Hosting plan with the upgrade page that I just demoed, that should be exposed to the reseller accounts very soon, within probably a week or two.
Great. There was a question. Would it be possible to have a Node.js instance on business hosting?
That is a very apropos question. So right now, no, but very soon, what we're planning to do, we're in the process of upgrading our cPanel systems. For the more technical people in the audience, we're finally getting off of Easy Apache 3 and updating to Easy Apache 4. And what that's going to enable for us also, Cloud Linux is exposing their Node.js selector application, which should be live in production probably in another month, and we plan to enable that as soon as we can on our business hosting accounts. And the thought there is that since they are single tenant systems, there's no reason to not enable those features because they're your resources to use. On a shared environment where you have broader impact to other people, we want to do a little bit more testing before we think about exposing that, but we do plan to add the Node.js support on business hosting VMs really soon. And also probably Python and Ruby. So this one here, so you can see this is kind of the page. We don't have the upgrade button enabled yet on the reseller, on this particular reseller storefront, but we'll have that on there very soon. But technically, if you go in through the My Account, you can still manage these business hosting accounts today. So it should look just like a cPanel shared account. And if you launch into the cPanel admin, you'll you'll see the same experience that you have today. Another thing to note, if you haven't looked at this in a little while, I know there were some issues from a technical standpoint for the reseller community in the past around having it be difficult to get to enable SSH access, because that was a feature that we had enabled for GoDaddy customers in our custom cPanel theme. But now that we have this unified UI for the My Hosting UI, we're able to expose this directly to all reseller customers as well. So if a customer wants to, they can just toggle this on.
I think I'll speak for our resellers and say whoop whoop. I know it's something that's
what does that translate to, Chelsea, in other languages? No, just kidding.
The woo-woo wasn't internationalized.
We should get that.
I feel like it should be international, but yeah.
Great.
So there you go, Chelsea. Your business hosting account now has SSH access.
Yes.
Yeah. Chelsea, do you want to ask there's a couple questions in the Q&A for business hosting. Do you want to ask and help answer some of those now that we have your voice here? I apologize for that.
No worries. So SSL comes free, but unlimited domains. Are we using Let's Encrypt, or does it come with an unlimited something?
No, it's a limited cert. So the SSL that we give you is a GoDaddy SSL, but it's just a basic single domain. So you get the SSL for your primary domain. If you want additional domains or unlimited domains, well, I mean, they're not unlimited, but if you want an advanced cert, like a UCC cert or a wildcard cert, you'd still have to manage that directly through the SSL dashboard.
Okay. And does business hosting come with a dedicated IP?
It effectively does. So since it's a single tenant, I'm answering this like an engineer, I know. Yes is the short answer, because it's a single tenant system, and every system has its own IP that's dedicated to that VM. The difference between our old traditional or old IPs is the IP doesn't go with you if you move around. So while it's dedicated to you, while you have that VM, if you upgraded or migrated or did something else, you'll get a different dedicated IP on that box, but nobody else will be using it, just you.
Cool. All right, I think that's all the open ones. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, that wasn't so painful, was it, Chris, being an engineer?
No, I know.
Oh, there's another one now, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Can multiple different SSL certificates be added to business hosting?
The way cPanel works is you can only have, let me double check that. I think, I want to say, actually, I think you can have multiple certs. I was going to say, I think it's the IP, you can only have one per cPanel account. And since this is still like a single cPanel account, they're all going to be operating on the same IP. But I believe you can have multiple accounts for those, or multiple SSL certificates for those different domains if you have add-on or subdomains that you want to manage separately. But again, those would all still be managed. The one that you get for free with the account is just currently locked to the primary domain, and if you want to add an advanced cert to cover your other domains, you'll have to manage that through the SSL dashboard.
Great. All right, so we have about 15 minutes left in our session. Really appreciate Chris. I'm going to switch over to our final. I'm going to keep you and Nisam still on. That way, if we have any additional questions at the end, we can circle back to it. Thanks so much for attending and showing us. I'm sure we'll have a lot more questions after this, and not so bad for an engineer. You did great. So we just wanted to circle back after the demos, just give you guys always throughout these webinars, we wanted to show you kind of what we did the last month after we spoke, and then what's coming for the next couple months. So you can see here, Chelsea, I don't know if you want to talk about that, and then I can talk about the CloudFest India event. So
sounds good. All right, so we finished up there's been some privacy changes that we've been working through. I think next month's webinar, we're going to be reviewing those, but it's a lot about handling data appropriately and making sure that we don't have people's personal information just stored somewhere or anything like that. So we've been making a lot of changes there. We've removed a couple, there used to be a contact information page under settings. That was removed as a part of this, that we don't need to get your contact information again in the RCC. It's already on the account. Things like that we removed and simplified. For the new storefront plugin and APIs, we did bring the help section international. So what it means is that now it can be translated into different markets. Wherever your customers are, they'll get a translated help information page. And in the RCC itself, you'll have noticed that there's a little bit of changes in the design. There used to be a white bar all the way at the top. It had GoDaddy all the way over on the left, and the support number and how you can look at your accounts and everything there at the top is all in a white bar. And then underneath it was a big old green bar. Well, now it's a green bar on top. So there isn't anything that's huge there. The pages themselves got a little bit of a facelift, but don't think that is what we're accepting as improving the experience. There's going to be a lot more changes, not just in looks, but in actual functionality going forward. That's pretty much the plans from the reseller dev team, that we're going to be working in the RCC, developing better reports and stuff throughout the rest of the year. And I'm just going to go over like this last month first, and then I'll go into the new stuff. Obviously, products that launched was the SEO and business hosting. So we're getting those out the door. I know there were some questions around the SEV, the old version, and getting that replaced with a new version for resellers to test out. I am working on that. It's something that needs to be done with a team that is very, very, very busy, and it's hard to get it on their docket. So we wanted to launch this out as soon as possible so you can start getting it out to your customers. So going forward, taking a look at May, for those of you who are supers, there's going to be an improved onboarding experience that should be launching at the end of May. It might be end of May, beginning of June, but you'll be seeing a different experience there. We're also looking at launching Plus Starter hosting, and that'll be towards the end of May. And for June, we're going to be internationalizing the RCC. So again, super resellers out there, if you have resellers in other markets, or if you're wanting to pursue getting resellers in other markets, the RCC is going to be translated at that time. Something that you will have noticed that has changed, that is missing now, is VPS and dedicated hosting on plugin and the storefront. It's not that it is that we're not working on it. It's that is an effort between the reseller team and the front of site team on developing a new purchase path. It has just been a little bit delayed. We're going to be taking a look that it's going to be more between the July and August timeframe. So I know I've said before that we're going to be end-of-lifing the old storefront. This doesn't change that. We're still wanting to do that this year, but we will not be forcing anyone off of the old storefront until we have all products on the new one. So don't worry, we're not going to be forced off without getting that. It is going to be there. It's just been a bit delayed. So with that, I'll hand it over to Shannon to talk about CloudFest.
Yeah, great. So we are trying to be more active with events. One of the larger ones that we are going to attend, not only as a GoDaddy brand, but specifically very heavily reseller promoted, will be the CloudFest India. If you are local to that region or you will be there for travel, please do contact our reseller team local. The number is posted on our site, on our front of site reseller. I can share that out too in the community to get registered to attend our events and to be our special guest. We also have some different things coming at that event for specific announcements. So really exciting time in May for us at CloudFest India. Do stop by and see us there if you are local there. Great, so that's what we have for events. I think we are ready to move. We just wanted to give you guys an update on what some future webinars, as we alluded to earlier, we are going to be bringing in the GoDaddy privacy team who will be reviewing the GDPR compliance and really helping our reseller community prepare for that. We have a lot of great knowledge, a lot of great programs in place to get us prepared for that. So we really need to get you guys prepared for that as well. Other future topics that you're going to be seeing, we're going to actually be sharing out a calendar. We're just really heavily developing that right now, and our guest speakers. Domain name products, new customer acquisition, support, client management, and upselling. Really excited about this one, the pricing strategies, bringing in a GoDaddy pricing strategist to help us kind of look at appropriately and accurately pricing to help get you guys the best bang for your buck. So really great content coming up. Appreciate you guys coming through these first couple ones with us, getting our audio and video secured and really understanding what you guys want to get out of these types of webinars and content. So with that, we have about 10 minutes left. I'm going to open it up for any additional questions. Again, if you have questions prior to it, please submit in the link with registration. Why don't I pull up the questions? We can see if we can get these addressed. There's one about the WordPress plugin, about what folder holds the CSS that controls the widgets. I don't know, Chelsea or Brian, if you guys have an answer for that one, or for that's something that we need to follow up with. Chelsea, Brian, did you guys hear?
Yeah, I think we can follow up with
Okay.
that, because it's getting a little more technical. We do have that search
Great.
form as open source, so.
Perfect. Yep. So those more technical questions, why don't we follow up directly with you guys on those ones? Let me see if there's any.
Can I mention something about the domain transfer plugin?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's Bobby, who's on the reseller team, wants to talk about the plugin real fast. So why don't we answer and address some of that?
So we were supposed to launch that actually on Monday. However, we found that when a customer enters a domain that isn't purchased, so it isn't available for transfer, it's actually available for purchase, we route them to the domain search page, which we found has the menu of our new storefront. So those users going through the plugin, we don't want to have that option for them to navigate to the new storefront instead of staying in your current plugin experience. So we had to hold off just a bit to update so that the menu options won't be there. They'll only have the home option. So look for that to be launched late this week, early next week. That's all I had, Shannon.
Oh, and see, I was just talking, and I was on mute, so thanks a lot. This one is for Chelsea. I know we've talked about this prior, Chelsea, and we've addressed this a couple times, but will the Office 365 product be available to sell on our reseller platform?
So that is a very complicated question. I know, because Office 365, I know it is something that GoDaddy doesn't make a lot of money on. Resellers will make minimal amounts of money on. It would be a huge development cost in order to get it. And also beyond that, there's a lot of repercussions on if we are offering it. It means that the other email solution that I want for resellers is then restricted, that it means you can't sell it in certain markets that Office 365 is in. And there's a lot of items that would need to go into that. So short answer, right now, no, there's no plan for it. I do understand that from last webinar and from feedback with resellers that making money off of it may or may not be important to all resellers. It sounds like it's something that just being able to say, yeah, we do sell it here, but you could make money off of the customer in another way. It is an option. It's something that we'll have to look into and figuring out exactly what that development cost is. When we have more to share on the other email option that I'm wanting for you guys, I think that's when I'd like to revisit this topic.
Great. So there's been some other asks about the logo area being too small. I know we talked about that last time. Do you want to just give an update? It was answered in there, but I thought we could just share that out to the larger group.
It's a definitely feedback that we have heard and that we are looking into what way that we can make it better. So right now there's no update besides that we've heard your feedback and we'll be working on it.
Great. We have time for just a couple more. Let me pick one. And there again, we are going to be indexing these and sharing out the Q&A so that you guys will have a reference to these. We'll be categorizing them so you can see about promotion, product, general questions, and those will be shared out to the larger community. There's another question about the sub-reseller experience that's changing. Chelsea, you briefly touched about that. You said that's coming, that should be coming within the next month.
No. Nope. Definitely not. So sub-resellers, the super reseller, sub-reseller platform, there's going to be huge changes in that. The way that you'll be able to control and manage your subs, that's going to be completely changing. That is something that needs an entirely new e-com system, basically, and revamping how pricing happens. So that's something that it's a long tail on trying to get everything lined up and ready and working correctly. So there's going to be changes. I don't have an ETA, but when it's ready, I will let you know.
Great.
So what's happening in the next month or so is the onboarding experience, so that when your sub goes to log into the RCC for the first time, we push them through an experience to allow them to get their storefront set up as quickly as we can and provide them as much information as we can to encourage them to be successful with their business.
Great. So that's a distinction, the onboarding experience. So it's not the full experience. Is that correct, Chelsea and Bobby?
Yeah.
That
Yes.
experience is changing. It's not the full. And there was a question, and I think this is a great wrap up to end this, is that there are some people that are new to the sub and super reseller. Can you just give a high level overview of what that is?
So super resellers can sell reseller plans. We don't want anybody signing up for it the way it is now. I've told agents to actively try not to. That it's something, it isn't working the way it needs to. It's not helpful right now. So I do not suggest anybody new signing up to it. If you're already a super and you're already in it, I mean, it is the way it is today, but there's going to be huge changes. So I definitely do not suggest that you go buy a super reseller program that will stop you because basically we make sure that why you want it is actually lining up with what it can do. It really doesn't offer too much for very many people, and it really opens up the doors more for fraud and for you and GoDaddy to be taken advantage of. So I'd say don't look at it until we have things better started.
Great. All right. Well, I think that's about it. We're at time right now. I know we've covered so many different topics. We will wrap this out, share this out, and we'll also condense kind of the Q&A into sections so that we can look at the various different sections. Appreciate everybody that was on and our great guests, Nisam and Chris from the product team. Chelsea, Bobby, the rest of the team, thank you so much, everyone, for joining. We hope you have a wonderful day or night or whatever time you are on, and we will see you again here next month, the first Wednesday of every month at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. You won't want to miss next month's webinar. It's going to be all about privacy and compliance and really important information. So make sure to join us next time, and we appreciate everybody joining us today. Have a nice day. Thank you.